A blind person might actually be safer in the Dogscape than somebody with sight. I really hope I stay monetized after this, but let's see what happens when our traveler is blind. The moment somebody is completely blind wakes up in this world, they'll immediately notice something is wrong. The ground feeling different, combined with the lack of their cane and phone, would tip them off. But what happened to their belongings? Well, assuming they dropped their phone, and of course needing to slide the cane across the ground, it likely would be lost within the flesh that is the Dogscape. No matter where they go, they will not find anything of the previous world, as it has all now been swallowed by the land. Not even a minute into this, and they're already at a disadvantage. As they navigate the land, trying to walk on uneven, undulating ground, it's going to be terrifying. They can't see what has changed. They just know that the ground is alive. They'll come across rivers that they believe to be water, only to find out that it's just saliva. And they'll come across trees believing it to be wood, only to be caught off guard when a branch strikes out at them with claws. So-called fruits in the shape of dogs hanging from some of these branches, and when they're broken into, only reveal blood and meat. What makes it worse is they'd be very easy prey for the things that wander about. And this includes the land itself. They wouldn't be able to see when there's an eye tracking them from within the ground, or when a mouth has formed, clamping down on their ankle. They wouldn't know when a two-headed dog is rushing their way, except for the incessant growling. The giant hounds that walk about, humongous as they are, would be the easiest to notice, as the ground shakes beneath its paws. But what's strange is, they're likely not in danger of any of these whatsoever. The land of the Dogscape is controlled by what is known as the Dog Mother. It's what the earth is now made up of. This thing that watches everyone's movements and spawns these different creatures. It's shown to think and act with goals and desires of its own. It's described as something that can be, well, fearsome but fair. It's highly likely that it will take pity on somebody of complete blindness, as it did technically take away all their tools. It might have one of those two-headed hounds mentioned before as a guide dog for them. This means somebody who can't see could potentially survive just fine, as the land itself starts to actually assist them. Someone of legal blindness would likely get similar treatment, though they'd have the advantage of having a little bit of blurry vision that they can see, at least if there's enough contrast. However, there are threats that would be very detrimental to the blind and legally blind, as they have no desire for protection, but rather hunger. These are enemies of the Dog Mother, one known as the Abomination, a tall humanoid shape with tremendous speed, and essentially a storm of ticks. If a blind person is caught by either of these, it'll lead to being torn apart or having all the blood drained from their body. Someone of legal blindness or blindness escaping these would be rather difficult. Completely blind people wouldn't be able to see them coming, but someone of legal blindness, however, they could potentially see the humanoid shape, although they're likely to be fooled by it since they can't see in detail. And they could potentially see the shadow of the storm of ticks coming and maybe find some shelter, but it's hard to say if they would find it in time. Someone of low vision might not get the luxury of having the Dog Mother being as pitying on them, but at the minimum they will be able to understand the land a bit better, dependent on how clear their vision is, whether it's blurry or if they do have clear spots and just a bit of blackness. They can at least start to navigate the land easier and understand what's going on, kind of. Not only that, they can definitely see when creatures are coming, at least when they're in their field of view. As they traverse the land, there is still a chance of the dog mother deciding to actually guide them around with one of these said creatures of hers, or even using parts of itself on the ground to guide them a bit. Again, though the dog mother is very harsh, it is fair. There is no escaping this scenario, unfortunately, as the entire Earth has already been consumed at this point. The best options are surviving with what you have in this land, and hopefully not meeting an unfortunate fate. However, the same cannot be said for the female portion of our population, as the dog mother seems to have some kind of grudge against them. There are heavy implications as to why that is, that are disturbing and disgusting to the point I will not name them. Overall, if a blind person were to be trapped within the Dogscape, it would be a very unsettling situation, but not the most unsafe scenario. Anything right, anything wrong, you let me know. And if you want to see another situation, let me know in the comments below. If you like the idea of someone who's blind being in horror, then consider subscribing. I also make my own creepypastas here on this channel for those interested in storytelling.